Thank you for joining us today at Miniature Wargaming Labs. Today I wanted to show you the contents of the Spectre Miniatures Starter Box for Spectre operations. So this is a 78 pounds before shipping and handling, and that would come out to, as of this filming, around $104 for the set. So what do you get for the $104? It comes in a nice Spectre Miniatures box. You get a rule book, quick reference sheet, four dice. Let's see, 2 squads, 1 Navy SEAL dev group, and 1 super advanced terrorists there. You get your measuring templates, nice touch there. And this is a 12-inch by 12-inch tile I made, but that you don't get that in the set, but that's just to show you the terrain that comes in. So 12-inch by 12-inch, this terrain pretty much fills that block. So this is your starter set. Now let's start looking at the components individually. And for that, I normally just use a ruler. This is a nice touch. It's the MDF. It comes part of the terrain kit. So you pop it out and it has different angles and the measurement you need. And a nice little Spectre miniature touch. So you can see the close alliance between Spectre Miniatures and Black Site Studios. But we have one full rulebook. This is the second edition rules. It comes with that. Now, I'll be honest, I already had the rulebook and some of the miniatures, but I bought this set again to get someone else in my community here in the Albuquerque metro area interested in. So I already had Dev Group and the starter rules here, the main rule book, and I gave that to him. At something that you normally don't get outside of the starter set, and something I really like, is the, let's get these out of the way here. This came a little crumpled up, but quick ref stats and a starter scenario. So I love this. So the person I partnered in on this box with, this is going to be our training scenario, and we have a lot of the references that we'll need to play the set that came in the box for the, for the starter scenario. Nice touch. This is the only way I've seen this, so I'm happy to get that. Now next, let's take a closer look at the terrain. So scoping in on the terrain, what we see here is couple frames of MDF terrain, Black Site Studios, so you can get this stuff on their website. Also, if Black Site Studios manufactures in Texas, Spectre Miniatures is in the UK. So you got to imagine, I live in the United States, New Mexico, next to Texas. So this box, this terrain went from Texas to England to New Mexico. Since I already had the starter book and some of the miniatures, I really liked this set the way it looked. I could have just ordered it straight from Black Site Studios. But let's see what they give you with this. You have 21 jersey barriers. When you look at the photo on the Black Site Studios, they just show you a sampling. This is what you actually get, 21 of these barriers. And the little scorch marks from the lasers actually make them look flavorful, like they're actually deployed. So they got a little pre-wear there. So a lot of the Black Site stuff is good to go out of the box. And 21 of them, I can stack them for several games of where I've got to do checkpoints. And speaking of checkpoints, they come with this. So that actually works. Up, and it stays up, down, and it stays down. So when you're doing your Fallujah checkpoint, you've got this. Don't have a little gatehouse, but that's alright. Now the part I really liked was the building. So you'll notice that the roof comes off. And there's a door in there. You really need to glue the door in, but I'm going to prime and paint this first and then put the door in, just because when I spray the primer, I don't want the door to stick right there. But you notice you can actually, with this building, choose. You can pop these panels out and choose how many windows. So I went for the most open window design, imagining that this is a checkpoint and people are inside or watching the checkpoint, because this building is actually pretty good. Middle East, North Africa, and the Southwest United States. There's plenty of little buildings if you're out here in New Mexico that look like this. So very versatile here. Something you'll notice is that you can also make this burnt out. So they have little scorch marks and weathering. And the instructions that you get off the Spectre Miniatures website shows the weathering going on the inside. And then the outside is actually pretty clean, and that's to show that this was bombed or burned out. A nice little touch there. And when you get these lined up with the Spectre Minis, let's just show an example. There we go. That looks good. Next we have some of these wall sections, and you get 2 examples of each walls. These come out very beautiful, but what I want to show is on a 12-inch by 12-inch board, 3 of them get you about 13 inches. So that looks good. Plenty of walls come in this for a lot of your scenarios. Now something I want to demonstrate real quick here is this is the box that the starter set comes into. Now you might wonder, why am I showing you this? You take this, you set it inside the box, it actually clears. So then you can take the roof, almost drop it there, set it next to the box. And then you can start taking the walls and stacking them in here. So even assembled, the train can go back in the starter box, which I appreciate because it solves how I'm going to store this thing long term. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the miniatures. So here we have the miniatures from the set, lined out, cleaned, and at various stages of putting togetherness. So right here we have our Navy SEAL dev group and our elite terrorists. So you get 6 terrorists, but given the design of the uniforms, they can also be military contractors, state units, whatever your imagination wants. Now with the Navy SEAL guys, you got 5 SEALs and a fur missile. Doesn't have the little camera on the back that you sometimes see, but that's alright. So you can see is I base these guys on 25mm bases and put some green stuff to kind of smooth it out. Give you an example here. So you can see the metal base, and I use some green stuff to smooth the transition into the base, and this is the result you get when you prime that up. Now one thing I wanted to point out, so I have a bunch of slotted bases here, so that's another reason I use the green stuff to smooth it out. But let's show you what the base it comes with. So this is the base that it comes with naturally. So you can see more around 23mm base. So the little metal stands that they're on just fit on that base. And a little wobblier than I would want. That's why I like the broader 25mm base, and it's what most of my other guys are already based on in Ultramoderns, and I want some interchangeability between my sets. Now the issue with using the 25mm base is this is an example of one of the tokens that Spectre Miniatures sells. And see what happens is this tracks board state, and this token fits just perfectly around their acrylic bases. If you base it 25mm like I did, it doesn't quite fit the same. I put it on the top, it doesn't get that nice hug on there. So that's a trade-off you make if you want to use the token set. But overall, the miniatures look good, easy to clean up. The biggest problem you're going to have is probably straightening the gun barrels, because they use a true scale, so these things are very thin. So I spend a lot of time straightening these out. But otherwise, most of your mold lines, the ones that are going to give you problems are going to be the inside cuts, the little triangle between the body, the hand, the weapons is the arm. In there is going to be your hardest part to clean. But overall, happy with the collection here. Now this is how I received the Spectre Miniatures Starter Box. It came in a DHL package, well wrapped and padded. As you can see, no dings or nicks on the package, even though it is quite heavy compared to most. And so no shrink wrap, which I appreciate because I don't need it. And it's just wasteful. So it cover slips off, slips off. There we go. And when you first open the box, you're going to get two rival teams of miniatures here. So we have our Navy SEALs Dev Group and our Insurgents. And we have our bases here. So in our pack. So this pack is your 4 dice. Now here's your starter scenario on a sheet of paper, a little dinged up. Now here's what takes up a lot of the weight. This is your terrain here. And all MDF. It's a nice little etch there. And then we have our rule book, safely padded at the bottom, unlike they used the MDF to secure the rule book. Nice mint condition, not dinged up. So overall, very happy with this set. It's a good price, slight discount from buying the parts in their constituent pieces. So good value for the money if you want to play ultra moderns, play that really gritty cinematic feel that you see in a lot of the movies. Any recommendations I can make on this set? I wish it came with the tokens included, like other starter sets like you see from Games Workshop and Consortia, Phalanx Consortium. But otherwise, if that keeps the cost down, good enough for me. Well, thank you for joining us at Miniature Wargaming Labs, and we'll see you next time.